Hi, my name's Evan, and I'm an adult student tenor saxophone beginner player guy. This video doesn't have me playing at all. This is just me discussing what my experience has been picking up this instrument out of thin air, okay? Over the summer, this last summer, I went camping with my wife and my kids, and couple campsites over, there was this older couple sitting by the fire, okay? And in the evening, she took out a fiddle and he took out a ukulele. And they were just playing softly. And when I was walking around, I could just kind of hear the music and the melody. And it sounded peaceful, it just sounded nice. And I thought, why don't I take another stab at learning to play an instrument? In the past, I've always admired musicians. I think I admire their commitment. I think it's amazing. Music is an amazing thing. So I've always looked up to musicians, whether, they're professionals or they play at my church that I attend, or, my father was an excellent piano player. And I got to hear him and see him enjoy playing for years, and I tried as a high schooler, I tried electric guitar, but I was too distracted by other things to stick with it. I've tried, violin as a kid. I actually tried violin as an adult for, a couple months and gave it up for whatever reason. But anyways, after that camping trip, I thought, well, what am I going to play? And at the time, I thought, well, ukulele sounds nice. Maybe I'll try that. So I go on Google and I start looking at different instruments or different ukulele stuff. I'm going to play the ukulele. And then I don't know how saxophone got into my head, but it just did. And maybe because it's so different. I've never played a horn or a woodwind, which this is. Brass instrument, any kind of instrument where you have to blow into the instrument. I had never tried something like that. So I always liked the sound of the saxophone. Now that I'm older, I actually enjoy listening to smooth jazz. I always liked, Miles Davis and Coltrane, and I like the saxophone sound, I do. So I immediately jumped headfirst into researching, what are the saxophones? There's the four types, right? There's the bari saxophone, which is the deepest. Then there's the tenor, which is a bit lighter. And then there's the alto, which is even lighter than the tenor. And then there's the soprano, which is like what Kenny G plays. And the main two people play are the alto and the tenor. And I just listened to both of them, and watched a lot of YouTube videos on alto or tenor. And I looked online, I looked on websites, Cafe Saxophone is a good website. There's also Sax on the Web, which is a great resource. There's also Reddit, which is a terrific resource. So I did some research and I thought to myself, well, tenor saxophone will probably be what I want to do. I'm full grown, I can handle a bigger horn, my lungs are fully developed, and I like the sound of a more bassy, darker, richer, warmer sound. That's what I want to play. I don't want a shrill, high-sounding alto, which, don't get me wrong, I want to play alto, and I don't think it sounds that way. In some songs like Take 5 by Dave Brubeck, the alto shines, and I don't think the tenor, it sounds as good, frankly. So, but anyways, I wanted to start with the tenor. So what I did was I looked online, and I'll tell you what, tenor saxophones are expensive. Besides the cheap Amazon crap, if you want a quality saxophone, at least $600 US dollars. At least. And I didn't have that money at the time. So what I did was I went down to my local shop and I said, do you guys have any tenors? And they happened to have this one, which they would rent to me. So this is a Yamaha YTS 200 AD2. It's a newer Yamaha saxophone, made in China, where I think a lot of the student, if not all of the student Yamahas are now made. You know, the professional 62 and 82Z, and those are made in Japan, but this is a Chinese-made horn. But I started renting it. You know, this was 2.5 months ago. So what this local music shop did for me is they got a tenor right in my hand. You know, I had to pay first month's and last month's rent. I had to pay for, you know, some cork grease, some cleaning supplies, but the strap, the mouthpiece, came in the deal. I had to buy a couple reeds. So, you know, it was like $120 out the door, but I got to bring this baby home. And when I did, I made a video of my first notes. So what I will say about this horn is both me and my instructor agreed that this is a fine horn. You know, it sounds good. 2.5 months later, I can get the high F and I can sometimes get the low B. I think it sounds good. The reason that I'm not buying this horn and staying with this horn is the music shop wanted too much money for it. You know, these new are like, so it depends. On eBay, you can get them down to the $1,000 range, but this case even has a sticker that says brand new, $2,500. Is this a $2,500 horn? No, it is not. And when I called the music shop and I said, look, hey, how much would I be able to use my monthly payments to buy this out? Because the way a lot of music shops work and how mine worked was, let's say I rent this horn for $50 a month for a year. Well, that's $600, and at that year point, I could use $600 towards the purchase price of this horn. Okay, but long story short, I called up the company and they got back to me in a few days with a quote, and they wanted a lot of money for this horn, almost $2,000. And I know from just looking online that it's not worth that much, that I could get a brand new one for almost half that price. So I had to look around. I looked on Reverb and I looked on eBay, and essentially I knew I wanted probably a YTS 23, you know, just because it was a safe bet and they're highly respected, regarded, and have a good reputation. So I have one on the way. I'm going to do an initial review on it, and first impression, more like it, not a review. But that's why I will be returning this beauty. And she really is, you know, the one that I'm getting, it's got scuff marks and it's been used. You know, it's a 20-year-old horn. But this thing doesn't have hardly a scratch on it. And it really is a beautiful horn. And I've enjoyed the almost 3 months that I've been able to work on it. So I feel like for somebody who is just starting out, a YTS 200 AD2 is an excellent horn. I think the problem is people see made in China and they think, oh, it's crap. There's no way. I don't want that, you know? And I fell into that too, because on the internet, that's what you'll see. You'll see so many people saying, oh, the old ones are so much better than the new ones, and they're now made in China, and, you know, anything made in China, I automatically walk. You know, you'll see a lot of that online, and I feel like for somebody who just wants to jump into playing, and who isn't gonna just get on the internet and take all these other people's opinions into consideration, this would be an excellent horn and could get you down the road far, substantially far. So sometimes too many opinions can just be harmful. You know, it's good to be informed, but there's a danger in it, and that is expecting only a certain kind of instrument, you know? And yeah, I'm getting the YTS 23 tomorrow, but it's half the price of what this shop wanted for this horn. Half, and that's in my budget. I am, a family man. I've got a mortgage, home insurance, life insurance. Inflation in 2023 has been rough, and I don't have COVID stimulus money coming in or anything where I can just drop $1,000 on a saxophone right off the rip. So I had to forego this horn, and buy a less pretty, older 20-year-old saxophone. So that is what I wanted to kind of talk about, and my next video will be my first impressions of my newer, older student saxophone. So thank you for watching, and that's where I'm at. Week 11, tenor saxophone. This YTS 200 has been real good to me. Real good. I'll be sad to see it go, but I hope whoever picks it up next time, I hope they're able to excel with it, because I feel like I have. I feel like being able to have this right away to play on it has been just such a blessing and a great part of my journey. So that's all I got. Thanks.